What could be the next Planet Zoo DLC? Could this be the next Planet Zoo pack? Let's talk about it. Now, I want to say right off the bat, this is not a Planet Zoo speculation video. This is basically me seeing a Planet Zoo animal wishlist on Reddit and just wanting to manifest it into reality. Now, before I actually start talking about this Planet Zoo wishlist and the animals that we provide to Planet Zoo, I want to quickly talk about why this video now. Why start talking about the next Planet Zoo pack or DLC now? And that is because Planet Zoo has a pretty clear cycle. Now, this is not 100% foolproof, but based on how and when they've put out things before, you can see a solid cycle of 4 packs a year, scattered every 3 months a pack. And there's also a cycle of what kind of pack. Now, the first year of Planet Zoo, we got all scenery packs. We had the Arctic pack, South America pack, the Australia pack, and the aquatic pack. But after that, the next year they went on to the cycle of animal pack, scenery pack, where you will never get 2 of the same packs back to back. So seeing that the last pack that we got is the Oceania pack, which is a scenery pack, we are now due for a animal pack. So that is the cycle of Planet Zoo. Now, this is again not 100% foolproof. They might steer away from this, but we're just basing this off of like logic of things that have happened in the past. So now let's actually move on to the animal wish list. Now, I do have to say that this Planet Zoo animal wishlist wasn't made by me. This list was made by the Reddit user Elegant Hope on the Planet Zoo Reddit. But I love the way that they are going. I love that they are going for these more colder climate animals, because I love for my zoo to reflect my dead cold heart. But anyways, I do have to make the caveat on this list is that they provide more animals than are typically in an animal pack. For those who don't know, an animal pack usually consists of around 8 habitat animals and then 1 exhibit animal. The caveat here being that you could have multiple exhibit animals if they are recolors based on what Planet Zoo has put out before. In the case of like the grasslands pack, with the multiple butterflies. But anyways, I'm going to go through this list and make my selection because it provides more animals than would be in a pack. And I will also put in like the little notes of like, yeah, I would love this animal, but there is a but. Now let's start with the Wolverine. Usually you start a list with the first animal, but the bald eagle is special to me. I will come back to it later. But let's start with the Wolverine, because I think I've seen a lot of people asking for a Wolverine for a long time, and I get it. It's a really interesting animal, and I would love to see it in Planet Zoo because we don't really have anything similar to it in the Planet Zoo animal roster so far. So Wolverine is definitely on my list to get into the next pack. Now let's move on to the Canadian lynx. Now, I did say that I was going to put in the buts. And with the Canadian lynx, there is a bit of a big but. And that is that some people might make the argument, oh, this is just a recolor. Because we already have the Eurasian lynx, why would we want the Canadian lynx? I would love to see the lynx, but it's definitely on the low end of like the animals that I would want to see in Planet Zoo. Although, to be fair, every Planet Zoo pack feels like it needs to have a cat, or like a big cat, or a bear, which we will come back to later, as you can already see on the list. Then we get the Roosevelt elk. I don't think we really have any elks. We do have deers and reindeers, so it would actually be nice. I also really just love the image. Like, it's just really serene and like statuesque, which, yes, Poison knows words, which is weird because most of the time I don't. I would love to see an elk, but we're going to kind of keep it in reserve. Mountain goat, again, you can hear make these argument of like, oh, it's a recolor of like the doll sheep or any of the other goat-like animals in Planet Zoo. Tickles me for a reason. It's not at all because of the picture. That just makes me feel like, you know, when you wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and you just want to eat something, but then suddenly someone else in your house puts on the light and see you in your little gremlin state. This picture is just giving me that look. So that's why it tickles me. Now, horned puffin. Did I choose this list just because it had puffins on it and I really want puffins in the game? You can't prove that. When it comes to your horned puffin, yeah, I just want another water bird. I just want more birds in general. Now here's another one that is just like, yeah, that's another top contender. Pacific Walrus, or just a walrus in general. This is the same thing with Wolverines. I have seen walrus on like animal wishes everywhere. I want a walrus. I want a chunky little fat boy that could maul me to death. Anyways, moving on to the Muskox. Now, you could make the very weak argument here, I would say, of it like, oh, it's another cow-like one, like the bison. But I think the Muskox is different enough that that argument is really weak. And have you looked at a Muskox, baby? Just think of how floofy those beasts will be in Planet Zoo. Because when it comes to Planet Zoo, they really do the floof well. Like, all of the floofy animals are just the floofiest. Am I wanting to have the Muskox in Planet Zoo just because of floof? Yes, I have biases. I am not afraid to tell those. Anyways, moving on to the Sitka deer. Here, I think the argument is stronger of like, oh, it might be a recolor of like the regular deer. I would say it's pretty low on the list of like the animals that I would really want to see, but I can see people wanting this. Anyways, moving on to the black bear. Now, every Planet Zoo pack, as I said before, it feels like every pack needs to have a big cat or a bear. I think, what is it? Like, it's one of the Hormosan black bear, which is definitely not the correct name, but you might make the argument there that it's like, it's a recolor. Anyways, let's move on then to the Alaskan hare. Yeah, this is also a top contender because I really love getting smaller animals. And also, when it comes to the Alaskan hare, just think of how far the modders can go with this. But I just want a small animal as well. Because usually, a lot of the Planet Zoo animals are really big. I mean, the biggest case is the polar bear with its huge size requirement, which I will never let go. But I just really love an Alaskan hare. Like, yes, I know I'm a murderous squirrel demon, but I love things that are floofy. I already made a big case for the Muskox just because it's floofy. I want an Alaskan hare because it potentially might also be quite floofy. It's such a different kind of animal. It's kind of like, you know, when the Alaskan hare, the horned puffin, Wolverine, they are very different animals to the animals that we already have. So it would really provide unique animals to the next Planet Zoo animal pack. You might also make that case for like the walrus. But anyways, let's move on to what might be considered a recolor, which is the stellar sea lion. Again, like the biggest argument against most of these animals or some of these animals is they could be considered a recolor. No animals on this list are bad. I'm just trying to be as critically here as possible. So when it comes to the stellar sea lion, I would like to see it because I also like getting more aquatic animals, but it's definitely on like the low tier of it. So then we have the Alaskan marmot, which I don't know why. I love it. I think it's the same idea with the mountain goat and just the picture that Elegant Hope chose for this animal. It's just like, it just gives me good vibes. It just gives me comfy vibes. It's a small animal. It's floofy. Yes, it might go a little bit along the lines of like, oh, this looks kind of similar to prairie dogs or such. Like maybe that argument can be made there, but it's just, we need more smaller animals. That's why like marmot, Alaskan hare, and horned puffin are like really high on the list for me. Now then, we move on to the exhibit animals. The tundra shrew, wood frog, or the northwestern salamander. I like all of these animals, but I kept the bald eagle separate for a purpose. Because you could actually put a bald eagle as an exhibit animal. Now, I do want to talk more about birds in Planet Zoo in like a separate video, so let me know down below if you guys want to hear my rambling thoughts on birds in Planet Zoo and if we will ever get them. But the most accessible way, just to sum it up really quickly, of getting birds into Planet Zoo would be through walkthrough exhibits, where they would function kind of the same as the bats that we have had, where they have certain positions where they can perch, and then they have set pods that they will fly. So I would actually say, yes, these are fun animals, but it would be a really cool way to end of the year by getting the first bird, like the first flying bird, into Planet Zoo. Let's tally up what I would consider a reasonable animal roster for this fictional Animals of the Last Frontier animal pack that I'm trying to manifest into existence. Starting off with the habitat animals and the certain habitat animals, Wolverine and Pacific Walrus. I don't think I really need to explain these ones. Both the Wolverine and Walrus are, as far as my knowledge goes, highly requested animals by the community, so it would basically be a sin not to put them in this pack. But besides those two, yes, I'm biased, but I want the puffin. Now, hear me out. Aquatic animal is great, a bird is great, and the aquatic bird is amazing. That's my argument for the puffin. Let's move on to the Muskox, because we all need that friendly floof that could actually trample us into the ground if it wants to. Moving on to the smaller animals, Alaskan hare and Alaskan marmot, because we need those smaller animals to fill up those otherwise neglected areas in your zoos, and especially with the Alaskan hare, it would give us another really unique animal that we don't have in Planet Zoo so far. Now for the final two animals, I'm going against protocol here and not include the Canadian lynx or the Kenai black bear, so those are off the roster. But the second to last final animal would for me be the Roosevelt elk. Now you might make the what I would consider weak argument here of like, oh, it's an animal recolor, it's the same as the deer that we have, but I would consider an elk different enough that it would still be interesting. And now for the actually final animal or final habitat animal, it's really a toss-up between the mountain goat and the Steller sea lion. Let me know what you guys would choose between these two. But I am partial to the mountain goat just because of the look of cosmic dread in the eyes of the picture that Elegant Hope provided. I just really like how they look. Anyways, that's it for the habitat animals. Now for the exhibit animals. Well, Elegant Hope provided these three exhibit animals, but as I said, I would actually put the bald eagle as a walkthrough exhibit animal, just because of, think of the idea of closing off this year with the first bird. That's it for me trying to manifest this Animals of the Last Frontier animal pack into existence. Letting me know down below in the comments if you agree with the animal roster that I took from this. If you don't agree, maybe you actually want to see a completely different region or area represented in the next Planet Zoo pack. Let me know down below in the comments. I want to thank Elegant Hope for putting their wishlist on the Planet Zoo Reddit. Again, I didn't make this wishlist. I saw it on the Planet Zoo Reddit and I just started simping over it immediately. Anyways, that's it for today's video. If you like it, throw an Alaskan hare at the like button. And if you want to see more, hug a Muskox and hope that it punches the subscribe button. Anyways, have a wonderful day, guys. Bye bye.